Hey everybody, I'm Greg Colossale, and you are watching another business video. I think it's like number 16. I'm just flowing, letting it go, and I'm not sure exactly what number this is. Today's topic is ingenuity. Ingenuity is an essential part of being successful in business. Ingenuity, inside the word ingenuity, is the word genius. So be kind to yourself, be nice to yourself, and know that if you are a person of ingenuity, you are ingenious. And it's a really like a bold statement, and you don't need to walk around and wear a shirt, I'm a genius. But it is, you don't need to, I don't want to tell you this, you're going to learn this the hard way by having thousands of people enter your life, thousands of strangers. Primarily, people are not extremely intelligent. The bulk of the world is not extremely intelligent. The bulk of the world is moderately intelligent. And that is something that is you can't change. You may not even be intelligent yourself, or you could be way more intelligent than me or anything around you. All I'm telling you is that if you take 100 people, I always do the 100-person test. You should too. This just means if you were to go out in the area that you're near, grab 100 people and, bring them into your building and ask them these questions, you'll learn that the large majority of these people are whatever I'm explaining to you. In this case, I'm calling it intelligence, but that's a very insulting. I'm insulting people by phrasing it that way. So that's not an inch of interest of mine. It's just, you can't even say the word ignorant because people don't even understand what the word ignorant means. It means that you don't know something because you weren't exposed to it. It doesn't mean that you're stupid. A little baby born in an African jungle where there's no contact with the white man or anybody who are drinking water off of leaves and eating chimpanzees, they are ignorant of something like the internet. It doesn't mean they're stupid. You see, they're just not exposed to the internet. So if they first see a phone, they're going to panic, but they're not stupid. This is not an insult. They're ignorant because they never experienced the internet. Therefore, they do not know. So I sometimes, because I word things I just word things quickly and effectively, and I know that they can be insulting, and I'm not trying to insult anybody. It's very common in this world to find fault. You know what I mean? I don't hate anyone. I just, it's just a way to teach so that it's called teaching from the known. You know what I mean? This is, you go from the known and then you move beyond that. And so I established the known, even if it's not nice to hear. Okay. Ingenuity, genius, whatever that is, not interested in discussing that. What I'm trying to tell you is that being ingenious is going to be how you survive. Most businesses fail in less than 5 years. When I got to the 5-year mark, I was like, holy cow, I know it's happening. It's really happening. 5 years. Then I knew it was going to have an impact. People started tattooing my ideas on their bodies. 8 or 9 people have Learn Love, my invention, my social movement, tattooed on their bodies, which were part of Backbeat City, which I didn't preach on the regular. I didn't announce it, but every show we did was called Learn Love. Learn Love 1, Learn Love 5, Learn Love 7, and 8 or 9 people have Learn Love tattooed on their bodies. That's all I need to rest in peace. I have succeeded. What is success? I don't know. I'm not a millionaire. But to affect smart people, these are not robotic, dumb people. These are very intelligent young folks. And to see that they were so moved that they wanted to remember this idea, that they put it on their bodies, I could never be more successful. That is why actually some people will hate me, because I can't even believe it happened. And I love them, and I'm so proud to be connected to them. And no one has made me feel unstoppable like the 8 or 9 of them. So I owe them everything. I really do. I love them very deeply. And I've never been involved in anything like that, with a personal or a girlfriend or a guy friend or a family member. So I am often moved to tears once or twice a year, because I can't believe, I can't believe it. So my father taught me what it means to be ingenious. Ironically, see, this is why the world is so confusing. My father could barely read and write. He was an Italian immigrant, and he learned English by the help of a college professor here, but he could not read or write. So you'd be like, how could he be a genius if he can't read? Well, that's the power of the brain. Language is just one version of education and learning and understanding that we use to, communicate. But remember, he had a first language. It was his second language that he struggled so bad with. That was Italian, was his first language. So when we were on the job, when we would do work, let's call it sidewalks so you could have a visualization. When we replaced sidewalks for a contract that he got from the city, we had to be ingenious and fast, and we had to work really quickly and hard because if you take too much time, you'll make no money. If it's a $50,000 contract and you take 6 months, you're going to lose money because you've had to pay people for 6 months. You can understand that. But my father's ingenuity was so amazing to watch that you could see how he was able to succeed in business because he was constantly thinking about cutting cost, making money, having a good product, being proud of what he is doing, working his guys hard but fair. And so right away, I'm going to kind of show you something with my hand. We would build sidewalks. And so we would rip out the sidewalks and put in forms. You'd have to smooth it all out, box it in, put in forms. Okay, they're about 4 inches thick. And then pour this, do that for 50 feet in a run. Have the cement trucks come by and pour the concrete in, and we would finish the concrete in like 95-degree days. Crazy heat. Heat solidifies concrete. Your investment can disappear right in front of you. And I mean, it's happened many times to him. Now, as you're putting the forms up, you also need to remember there's going to be pressure on them and they have to be strong. So you put a pin. We put pins into the ground and attach the form to the pin in a way. But one thing my dad did, which was unbelievable, was he would take rocks that were nearby and place them under the form in order for the height to get going. And those rocks could be stacked or whatever. Then he'd smash it down, and the rocks under the form into the top, so into the gravel, was a strong base. No nail was ever used. He saved money. Local rocks were everywhere. And with his eye was so good, he can do this very quickly. Then he taught his staff, and his staff would do this very, very quickly. So I'm telling you this because that's a form of ingenuity. Now, if you went to the successful American teams, and they're definitely using nails and more firm, expensive, time-tested ways to put forms up. And it's not that it's wrong, but when you have nothing and you come from nothing and the rocks are free and they're producing the same result, this becomes an ingenious move. How much is a nail? Well, it didn't matter. Because if 100 nails are going to cost him $5. So he just saved $5. Cheap? Oh yeah, crazy cheap. $5 for 50 feet. Now what if you do a mile of forms? You can do the math. You see what I'm saying? That's called ingenuity. And I grew up watching this my whole life. Is it something to be proud of? It's way proud. You should be way more proud of ingenious behaviors and ingenious inventions than the ones that are followed by the masses. Doesn't mean anything's wrong. I'm just trying to show you this is what you need to find in your life. I had ingenious inventions, ingenious aspects to my business that fit inside of choir directing, show choir, teaching kids, piano lessons, all of that. That was my industry. It wasn't building concrete. I'll share some of those later on. But those were always impressive to the people watching. And all right, I'll tell you one. I'm going to share one with you. Now it's, people like, you didn't invent that. I did. Before the internet, if an idea came to you, you invented it. Okay, but because the internet, there's cajillions of ideas. I now see other people doing this. But this was mine. A few things were mine, not influenced by the internet, now on the internet as not mine. And I'll go down that road another time. So one thing I knew about young people, because I was one of them, was that it's very stressful to fail. It's very stressful to publicly fail, to socially fail. And when you make music, it is being heard by others. So it's very tricky to have the confidence when you're 8, 7, 6 years old, maybe even 10, to just assume you could play a whole bunch of bad notes every day of your life. Wah, just horrible sounds. And only your mom washing the dishes goes, "That's lovely, baby." Wishing you would quit the violin. "That sounds great." It doesn't sound great. It sounds horrible. But this weird conundrum of them lying to you because they love you and they're spending $50 a lesson and you're going to get better when you practice, but they want to say nice things to you because you're young. All of that is normal. It's very normal and sweet, and it's the reality of life. But what I did is that after they made noise because they were trying to figure out music, when you walk, you fall, when you're trying to figure out how to walk, I taught them on piano a way to sound good and celebrate immediately. And they could do this with me at a lesson and we could record it. And then I taught them how to do this at home, or I would show dad or mom how to help them. It's very simple what I'm about to tell you, but it is gold, magic. And all I did was remember how much I hated piano lessons. I quit within months because I didn't sound good. I didn't feel like what I was doing was sounding good. Here's the trick. On the piano, there's black notes, okay? There are 5 black notes. It just so happens those 5 black notes are what's called the key of F sharp and the scale of F sharp pentatonic. When you penta meaning 5. When you play just the black notes, you can sound like you're playing notes that are right. If the lowest note in your left hand, the bass note, is F sharp, the first of the black notes in the groups of 3. There's 3. It's this one here. If you play that low note, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, and then with your other hand, you just hit black notes without looking, it'll sound like music. It'll sound somewhat, a lot of people might say Asian. Those are the notes of the pentatonic scale. And as you do this, you go, it sounds good. You record it and then have the kid listen back. It sounds good. Now, what I would do in a lesson was I would play real big stuff beneath them. In F sharp, this key. And the kid at the end of the lesson could just mess around on the black notes. We'd record it by having a professional musician playing down low, giving it a structure, having the kid experiment with together. This sounded like music. It is music. It was music. And they would be proud of what they sounded like. I invented that. That's an ingenious trick, an ingenious part of the lesson. We didn't rely on it. You didn't come to a recital and everyone's like, let's just jam on the black notes. You gotta give the dog a bone. You've got to it's okay. You've been struggling. You hate the piano. I get it. You want to quit lessons. Let's jam. I didn't do this because I wanted to manipulate people. Once I did it the first time and I saw the face of the father, and the kid was so proud to show him. She was so cute. She might have been 6 years old. She showed him, "Dad, I can play just like you," because he could play. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm in the business of teaching music to kids and families. I don't make bologna sandwiches. If I made a bologna sandwich and put hot peppers on there and she smiled that big and said, Dad, you gotta try this sandwich. It's unbelievable. I'd feel the same way. I'd be like, wow, the hot peppers worked. This is what ingenuity does. I'm just showing you mine. I told you my dad's is, I've had 20 more. I won't tell you them all because I'm very proud of them. 20 more ingenious inventions inside of my business. My dad had 100 more ingenious inventions inside of his business. And you want to find your ingenuity. You are a genius in some area. It's like, oh, I can't do math. I'm dyslexic. I have ADD. All that could be true. That's fine. You could fight for that. But in some part of your life, you know and can do something and make something up that I can't. Let's say it's sewing. I have a big rip in my jeans. I'm like, gotta throw them out. You're like, no, I don't have to throw them out. Give me those jeans. And you're able to make magic with a sewing machine and do something I can't figure out. And you give them back to me, and I'm like, thank you so much. You know what they do? I swore. I never swear. I'm fatter than I used to be. You know what they charge you for jeans when you're fat? It's crazy. You're like, you won't even believe the number. It'll be like $90. And what do? Well, this woman just saved me $90. I'm not saying it's a sewing machine. Maybe she knew, oh, you just take a patch from a pillow, cut this out, put this in the crotch area where it's ripped, which you never can fix because it's so worn down and always so active. You just throw the pants out. No. Now this woman, this actually happened to me in Texas. I had a Mexican woman laugh at me when I was ready to throw my pants out, and I gave her $16, and she regenerated my pants. It saved me $75. She is a sewing genius. I went to another tailor. They're like, oh, it's the crotch. This isn't going to work. I got to throw them out. I went to 2 tailors, 2 storefronts. It's probably just going to rip again. And give me this. Give me this. I couldn't believe it. So maybe you do it with cookies. I knew a woman, she passed away. She made the best chocolate chip cookies you can ever even dream up. I ate them for 30 years. Probably why I'm fat. We would get them every Christmas. She was my sister-in-law's mom. And do you know, now I'm telling, these cookies are so good that among my 4 or 5, there's 5 boys who grew up in the house, there'd be punches thrown, grabbing cookies. Here comes the batch, it's walking in on Christmas Eve, and there'd be elbows, and people be lifting people up and grabbing the cookie. It was like, you're ready. Okay, I used to hide cookies outside in the garage, wrapped up, just so I can get because it's so cold in Connecticut, just so I can have cookies in the next 5 days. I tell you this story because for the last 10 years, maybe 20, she was blind. She was legally blind. The cookies never changed. They didn't go from, oh, these are the cookies when she could see. Now these are the cookies now she can't see. Now, I don't care what you tell me. People are like, oh, of course you could do great. Just measuring, you do 2 teaspoons. No. You can't fool a fat guy. I bit into those cookies when she was blind and when she was young and could see. And they tasted the exact same. That is an ingenious person's contributions. That's where she is ingenious. People don't see the world like this. They're way harder on themselves. I'm watching now. There's a girl that I taught that I'm very proud of. Now, I don't know if she understands this, but when I met her, she was 11, and she talked like this. This is like as loud as she talked. Yeah, I could. Can you come to the front row? Yeah, I can come to the front row. Okay. She comes from a musical family. She comes from a cool family. Do you know she's 11. Now she's 28. I don't even know how old she is now. She is singing so big, so powerful, so forte. I dare say forte, not loud. So soulful, so loved by the audiences. That is where her ingenious energy was placed. She was once a mute little mouse. I used to have to ask her bigger sister, what did she say? Oh, she'll sing that song. Her sister would be here and she would be here. She'd be popping up. She was like nervous. She was socially shy. And I never felt more accomplished in my life. I've taught thousands. But there's something about this girl. And I shouldn't say that she's my favorite. They all get mad. That's all. And I don't want to hurt anybody. But I'm sure a physical therapist who has someone who can't walk is really, really, really proud of the fact when they start to run marathons. This is why you help people. It powers you. You don't even know what's happening. You don't say, oh, I'm going to turn this quiet girl into a machine. She trusted me. I trusted her. I loved her and wanted her to know that whatever she was afraid of that kept her voice small, none of my business. You don't have to be afraid of it around me. I love you. I'm going to build you into a machine, not a musical machine. That's her own business. She can sing and rock it out with Paula Abdul or Whitney Houston. That's her talent. Yeah, I bring it out. I play the piano. No. What I'm doing is saying, when you wake up, little lady, you deserve to be heard. Heard. That's what I gave my kids. That's what they paid for. When they wake up in the morning, they go, I've got something to say. Write, quote, sing, rehearse. And I'm not going to waste any time worrying what everybody else thinks around. Maybe I shouldn't. They came into a building, they gave me money, and in that building, they sang their brains out. They talked their brains out, too. If they bullied, I was a jerk. They didn't really bully. They were really good people. But aside from bullying, which was once, twice a year, no, they came and to be heard, and I let them be heard. I let them talk. If they had an idea, I put money behind it and put it on stage, even if I didn't have money. If they were quiet, I made them loud. If they were loud, I made them understand they could be less loud. I didn't do it myself. I wasn't like, no, but this is my business. My business will always be one of the most ingenious creations in the Northeast for the reasons I just told you. That's why it was some people hated it. If you had a small mind and you weren't sure, like what is Backbeat City? One time a guy called us a cult. That really hurt me. I was like, what? His kids were flourishing and doing great. And he said, yeah, you're a cult. And I was like, oh, that really hurt me. And I never really understood what that meant. What does that mean? Like I'm leading a bunch of kids religiously or into war or anti-establishment? None of that was true. But I never shook it. I never really shook it. Really, he said it publicly too, in front of other people. And I was like, wow, I have no interest in harming or manipulating. If you need to take your kids out of the program, I understand. I don't want to be called a cultist or whatever that is. But that comes with the territory. It doesn't mean this person's bad. He just thought I was someone who needed, I don't know. I don't even know what the word is. But in the reality is, ingenious ideas are often misunderstood by the majority. This is what I was trying to tell you. There are a lot of people on earth who are not ingenious. So they will see you or see what you're doing as threatening, as bad, or confusing. What is this really? What is it? But you can't accommodate everybody. This is the free market. They do not have to interact with you, but you can be yourself. And this idea is What I'm trying to tell you is find your genius. Find your genius. It's in you. You just don't trust it. You just don't maybe think it's of value, but it is. I'm going to tell you another quick one. My father was a genius at this one thing. People like shrimp scampi. I talk about shrimp scampi all the time. Everyone, shrimp scampi, shrimp scampi. Now, in the majority of the world, especially in America, shrimp scampi is a cream sauce. It's produced to cover pasta with a flavorful cream sauce and some shrimp. When you pour it over pasta, it tastes good. It's a garlicky, creamy, shrimpy, lemony taste. Nothing wrong with that. My father would make shrimp scampi with no cream, no milk. Okay? This was no longer something that could be used to cover a large amount of pasta because you need the cream for the flavor to then, to sell it in a restaurant. But my father's shrimp scampi was so delicious that President Reagan's entire staff ate it at our house. When Reagan came to our town in 1987, the Secret Service said, well, where do we feed our staff? And the entourage, everyone but Ronald and Nancy, they said, oh, you're going to go to Dominic Colossale's house and he's going to cook for you. And that was one of the dishes served. The shrimp scampi, I'm telling you this, not because, it's not a big deal. No milk. My father's what? My father's a genius? No. But it's so delicious. It's so tremendously delicious as a little side. So where everyone else is like, put it on the pasta. He's like, what, are you crazy? This is why I love my dad. Because everyone else's restaurant, they put, where's the cream sauce on the pasta? He's like, you're going to put milk in my beautiful creation? You're gonna put milk in this and ruin the whole thing? And this is a big deal. He didn't. You make some steak. On the plate is some steak. There's a little bit of pasta on the right. No red sauce nearby. It ruins the flavor of the garlicky, the beautiful shrimp. You don't want red sauce nearby. If you're gonna do red sauce, don't do all the energy. It covers everything. Tomatoes are so acidic, they'll cover the shrimp and the garlic. Don't get all crazy. It don't matter. Red sauce will just overpower everything. So on the plate, you have some meat, some pork or some beef. You've got a little side of pasta with some olive oil, some black pepper, maybe Parmesan cheese. And then you have your side of shrimp scampi there, right next to you, like a surf and turf. Not on the steak, not three. An abundance of shrimp. It's a side dish. And it comes with this sludge. The sludge is so delicious. You take a piece of bread and you can't stop eating the sludge. The olive oil, the butter, the cooked wine, the garlic. It's so delicious. My father basically invented this, somewhat. Or didn't fall for the cream that's in every single other version of shrimp scampi. Isn't that cool? Doesn't matter. It's not some life-changing thing, but it is his form of ingenuity. Find your ingenious ingenuity. Find your genius. It's in there. I'm Greg Colossale. Gonna make some coffee. See ya.